Evening guys, welcome to Mooch's Ways channel. Hope you're all doing well throughout this COVID-19 lockdown. So this evening I thought I'd do a little talk on running dogs. I've got my two running dogs sat next to me here, Bryn and Jet. Jet's a little homebred whippet, just worker to worker bred. Bryn is a lurcher, he is a Saluki Greyhound whippet. Again, worker to worker. Both the people I had these dogs off of, they both owned the Saran Dam. So Jet's 5 now. She's turned into a very handy little bitch. She stands around 20 inches to the top of her shoulder. I don't know how well she's going to show up because of her colour on film. But yeah, she's my main ferreting, the main dog that I take ferreting with me. Fantastic little ferreting bitch she is. She'll hold rabbits in the net and she'll catch bolters, which is what you want. Yeah, she's pretty good on the lamp. I wouldn't say whippets, I wouldn't say a whippet is brilliant for long runs. They excel in small fields, short, sharp runs. Obviously, they're known as the ultimate rabbiting dog. If you want to get a rabbiting dog, then, in my opinion, you won't get much better than a whippet, whether that's homebred or KC. I find some KC whippets or racing whippets can tend to be a little bit thin-skinned, but if you get a little homebred whippet, down the line they're going to have had something put into it, whether it's terrier or whatever the case may be. They'll have something else in them. So, I mean, this little bitch is quite tough-skinned. Whippets are quite underrated. Obviously, people associate the whippet with thin, shivery animal. Well, if you get the right one, it couldn't be further from the truth. I've worked my dogs on the coldest days and they've never been sat shivering or cold, so it's not really a problem I've had to deal with. Yeah, whippets can make good little all-rounders. She'll retrieve shot game to me as well, which is quite handy. One little quirk she does have is if I'm out lamping with a friend and their dog, if she catches something and the other dog's there, she won't retrieve it. I guess that's the fear of the other dog stealing what she's caught. But if I'm out on my own with her, she'll retrieve. So, yeah, she's done very well for me over the years. So I'm happy with her. You know, she's a nice, small, racy bitch. She hits cover like an absolute demon, as a few people who've been out ferreting will be able to verify if you leave a comment if you've seen her do her stuff. Yeah, she's very handy. Can be a bit when we're ferreting, if there's a rabbit in the net, sometimes she can be a bit reluctant to let go. She doesn't really damage them, but if she catches a bolter or when you go to take them off her on the lamp, she lets you take them off her fine. So again, that's another quirk that I'm not really sure why she's picked up. Probably my fault, but you know. So yeah, this is Bryn. As I said, Saluki Whippet Greyhound. He's just coming up to 2 years old. He's really my main lamping dog. As I said before, whippets aren't really cut out for long runs. And one of our permissions is quite big fields. So this lad, this is where he comes into his own. He had his first proper full season, the season just gone. I don't really like to start a running dog too early. I see a lot of lads taking dogs out when they're 4 or 5 months old. Well, you know, a running dog, especially running dogs, you know, with the amount of running you want to do with them and hard running, you really, in my opinion, want to let them grow properly and let their bones, you know, fuse together before you even think about working them. Not just that, but I also think that a dog has to be ready mentally as well as physically, because any dog up to the age of 12 months, in my eyes, is still a pup. Let them be a pup. Let them enjoy being a pup. Just do your basic training with them. get them walking to heel and coming back when you call. Livestock breaking, that's important when they're a pup. You know, there's plenty of other things you can be doing with your lurcher, pup before working them. So yeah, he's had his first full season, and yeah, he does very well on the lamp. Catches me rabbits very well, retrieves them live to hand. He's fine around all the livestock. I've had him out ferreting once. He's not really my main ferreting dog, as you can see. He's quite a big lad. He stands around 26 to the top of his shoulder. As you can see, he's quite a fine lad. Most Salukis or dogs with Saluki blood in them tend to be a little bit finer. You'll see a little bit more rib. That did used to bother me. You know, when they're pups, they look really bad. Once they grow into themselves, they'll start filling out. But you won't get the sort of body type that you would with other lurchers if you've got Saluki in them, because they all tend to be quite fine dogs. You know, Salukis are long distant runners as well, so I guess they're bred to be nice and fine, so they can run the long distances they do. As you can see, deep chest, nice big lungs. Yeah, he's a good lad. As I said, I've not had him ferreting with me before. Well, I have one time, but he's not my main ferreting dog, purely because the type of ferreting we do here is mainly big hedgerows. He wouldn't have a chance to shine when you're ferreting, and I think if I ferreted with him, hey, give in. I think if I ferreted with him too often, it'd just dishearten him, because he wouldn't give in, you two, because he wouldn't be they're playing. He wouldn't have the chance to catch many rabbits. That's where the whippet comes into play, because of her nice small size. She can run through the hedgerows after any bolters, things of that sort. She's got a better chance of catching them. So you know, the term horses for courses really come into play here. You know, Jet, the little whippet, she's a fine lamping dog. Small fields, few rabbit runs, she's fine. But you put her on the big fields, long runs, you know, she doesn't excel there. So it really is horses for courses. The same with this dog and ferreting. I wouldn't ferret with him too often, because, you know, I mean, yeah, he would hold rabbits in the net well and he would mark the holes, but apart from that, I think he'd get quite bored. There wouldn't be much for him to do. There wouldn't be many bolters. And he will, like when you're lamping with him, he does follow rabbits into hedgerows when they run for home. He'll follow them in and bush them back out, which is a very good trait in a lamping dog. But you know, when you're ferreting, I think he'd hit hedges too often, too fast, and with the amount of barbed wire we have around here, he'd end up, you know, in the sick bay quite often, more than likely. And you know, I'm happy just to lamp this lad. So yeah, I've got a running dog for the different styles of work that I do. So main ferreting dog, you know, a bit of lamping, main lamping dog. There are many lurchers come in many different crosses. You know, generally a lurcher is a running dog base, such as either a whippet, Saluki, or greyhound, and that's crossed with, you know, any type of dog. Usually it's collies for the brains, or Bedlington Terriers for their drive. Brinker. You know, I know they use Kelpies. I recently saw a German Shepherd cross greyhound. That looked quite a handy thing. But you know, they come in all varieties, all shapes and sizes. I often see people asking, what's the best type of lurcher, what's the best cross? You know, the list is endless at the end of the day. It's whatever works for you. Everyone has their personal preferences. You know, if you're ferreting places with tight cover, big hedgerows, you want something small like a little whippet, or a Bedlington whippet is a good cross. If it's more open ground, then, you know, whatever suits you, whatever you think is going to run well for you. If you want a lurcher with a bit more brains, then go for some collie based. But you know, you really got to look into the traits that a dog will have with the cross it has. So you know, if you get a Bedlington Whippet, you're going to have the best of both worlds. You're going to have the speed of a Whippet, but the tenacity of a terrier. Sometimes the tenacity of a terrier isn't always a good thing. It does add heart to a dog, but from my own personal experience, I think these Whippets have got, you know, hearts of lions anyway. But it all depends what you want it for. I mainly do rabbiting with mine. Obviously, I do try and stick to the 2005 Hunting Act, which means only rabbits and rats. But this little bitch, I take her out ratting with me. She's a fantastic little ratter. I know a lot of people will, or a lot of old school people say, you know, not to take a lurcher or a Whippet out ratting because, you know, it makes them hard-mouthed. Not had that experience. I think a dog will know when to switch it on or not. They'll soon know the difference between a rat and a rabbit. I mean, this little bitch has caught squirrels and rats, and with them she doesn't mess around because she knows they bite her. But with the rabbit, she's more soft-mouthed. Haven't had this lad out ratting yet. Probably won't. He's a bit big and cumbersome. He'll probably just get in the way. You know, his main game is just going to be lamping, rabbiting, you know. So yeah, you know, it really is a shame about the 2005 Hunting Act, because I think this lad, you know, being his cross, he would have probably made a good daytime hare dog. But unfortunately, the law's the law, you know, we've all got to stick to it, guys. Yeah, the lurcher, I think since the 2005 Hunting Act has been put in quite a bad light. Purely for the fact, I think, due to social media, there's been a lot of people posting illegal pictures and videos online. You know, all I'd have to say to that, guys, is you're really not helping our cause. I find rabbits are perfectly adequate quarry for the dogs. You know, you get good enough runs on a rabbit. You know, I've seen some rabbits make even the most experienced dog look silly when they dip and dive, and you know, you'll get a rabbit when your dog's coursing it on the lamp and it will suddenly squat to confuse the dog and the dog will run over it. You know, they're great fun to run. Equally with the ratting with the smaller type running dogs, that's a good day out. You know, obviously not just terriers excel at ratting. I think every rat pack should have a couple of Whippets or a couple of small lurchers in them. Certainly when we ran our rat pack a few years ago, I was the only one in that rat pack actually who kept terriers. The others actually kept lurchers and running dogs. So you know, and they were all fantastic, absolutely fantastic little ratters. You know, they marked and caught just as well as the terriers. Yeah, I'm a real fan of having running dogs in a rat pack, as you can tell. But yeah, guys, I mean, if you're thinking of adding to your rabbiting team, then, you know, I really do highly recommend a running dog. For when you're ferreting, you know, you've got that dog there to mark holes. And if that's all you want the dog for, then that's fine. You know, I know a lot of places, you know, where you'd look at rabbit holes and you'd think that's not worth doing, but your dog mark it, and perfect. So you know, you need that dog's nose on a day's ferreting, I think. And you often get rabbits slipping the net, so it's handy that the dogs can add those rabbits to the bag. You know, and again, lamping with running dogs can be quite an efficient way. You know, if you go out with 2 or 3 running dogs and the place got a few rabbits, you know, if your dog's switched on, you know, you can have a fair few rabbits a night with the running dogs. And it's good fun, you know, it's great seeing the dogs work, they love it. I think it's a great night out, but, you know, it's a shame that in the public eye the lurcher is, you know, lurchers aren't really seen in a good light because they're seen as, you know, hare coursing dogs. So these days, I'm afraid it's harder and harder to gain permission with running dogs. But you know, I'm sure if you know, if we stuck to the law and done things by the book, when I know the places I go, the people are happy for me to bring running dogs on. Yeah, they're a good part to your team. And also, you know, running dogs are very, very loyal, very affectionate. You know, mine are lovely natured, good natured with other dogs, great with kids. They're easy to stop break, easy to break to the ferrets. You know, both these dogs won't touch my ferrets. So yeah, they're just an all-round good dog. You know, obviously even out when you're walking them. If you're walking them in a place with a few rabbits and one pops out, you know, they'll catch you your dinner. Yeah, I mean, I had a lurcher before these two. I had a lurcher that my friend gifted me, the same friend I got a Bryn from, and she was quite a big lurcher, probably about the same size as him. Again, very good all-round bitch. And I'd always looked at whippets, and I was always of the opinion, oh, you know, they're no good, they're a bit thin-skinned. But I bought this bitch that my mate bred, if Bryn will get out of the way and get her in shot. I bought this bitch that my mate bred, and you know, really she changed my mind on whippets, because they're not really the thin-skinned, shivery little dogs that you're forever stitching up, you know. Don't get me wrong, she's had a share of nicks and grazes through working. But, you know, hearts are lions, and they'll do the job you want from them, you know. I mean, I see a lot of people questioning whippets, saying, will they do this, you know, will they do fox, will they do hares? I mean, I know it goes against the 2005 Hunting Act anyway, but if you just want an out-and-out rabbiting dog, then get a whippet. If you want a dog that's going to do other things, will a whippet do a fox? Yes, it will do a fox. Will it do a fox consistently? No. You know, they're only small dogs. Even though they've got the heart, you know, these little dogs are going to struggle on a big dog fox. Will they do hares? Yes, they'll run a hare, they'll catch the odd hare. Will they be 3 out of 3 hare dogs? No, no way. They can't handle a long run or more than 1 or 2 long runs. You know, I'm not going to lie about a dog because I think it's a good dog. I know that whippets are good dogs for what they're bred for. Little rabbiting and ratting dogs, you know, general small game, small vermin. You know, they're not big runners. If I ran her, you know, if I gave her big runs, big long slips on rabbits, you know, half the field away, she'd run a couple and she'd get tired. But you run her in little paddocks and she'll catch them all night long in little paddocks. Big runs, that's where this chap comes in. He's got the lungs for it, he's got the legs for it. He's a long distance runner, you know. If you got a rabbit sort of dead on out, right out in the middle of a big vast crop field, you can slip him, he'll run it, you know, you can do that with him until, you know, he's had enough. You know, that's what he's built for. So, depending on what type of ground you've got, guys, is really a big factor into what type and what cross lurch you get. You know, but yeah, they're easy to keep. I feed all mine on raw, not knocking anyone that feeds dry, but raw seems to work best for me. Yeah, you know, they thrive on raw. I feed mine a lot of, during the season I was feeding them a lot of pheasants. I was getting them quite cheaply off a local keeper. And then I'd change that up every now and again with some rabbits, venison, things of that sort. And they're still on rabbit now. They're all, even my 2 terriers, they're all on raw. Exercise, you know, to be honest, with whippets or any running dog, I found they're generally quite a lazy dog. You know, they will happily lay on the sofa or on your bed, or even if you keep them outside in their kennel, and they'll sleep the day away. I think as long as you take them out for at least one decent walk a day, you know, an hour, couple hours, give them a good run. Road walking builds their muscles up well. You know, I don't tend to go over the top with my dogs. I know a lot of lads who like to do like sort of 10, 15 miles with their running dogs. I've never been one of them people, you know. if your dog's had quite a hard season, rest is just as important as exercise. You know, these dogs are at the end of the day, they're athletes. So you know, if it like during the season when I work them, if I've had quite a heavy day's ferreting or a heavy night's lamping, you know, the next day I'll give that dog a complete rest day. You know, I probably won't even walk them. I've got a fair sized garden here, so I'll just let them sort of what I call a flex day. I'll just let them have a flex, have a run around, enjoy the garden. Equally during the summer months, you know, I take them out daily. I always try and give all my dogs, but this is just my own belief, I always try and give all my dogs a flex day once a week where I don't walk them, I just let them out in the garden, let them do their own thing, mooch about in the garden, play, you know. Just like us really, you know, every now and then we like a lazy day, and the dogs after a hard season enjoy a lazy summer's day, you know. But yeah, like I say, these dogs are generally, if you don't do anything with them, they're quite lazy. They'll lounge around in the house, you know, in the garden. 40-mile-an-hour couch potatoes. You know, they're just. But when you take them out, they're all over the place, running here, there, and everywhere. So you know, they tend to conserve their energy for when they need it. But yeah, I don't tend to go mad with the exercise regime with them. You know, I'll start stepping it up probably around August time, once crops are down and the cover starts dying back a bit in September, October is when I start with the rabbiting anyway. So around August time I'll really start stepping up their fitness regime, but again, not too crazy. I'll just get them fit, you know, fit enough where they can endure a day's work, but if you're out, as I am, you know, most weekends during the season, either lamping or ferreting, a couple of blasts on the lamp, you know, that gets their running fitness back. There's no need, you know, fair play to the lads who want to do 10, 15 miles with their dogs every day. Never done it, never really, you know, apart from muscle tone, I've never really seen much difference. I mean, my dogs never flake on a day's work anyway, so. And that's the thing, guys, just go with what you think is best for your dog. I wouldn't pay too much attention to what you see on social media or anything like that. You know, everyone has their own methods, everyone has what they like to feed. You know, just because it works for one person doesn't mean it will work for another person. You know, as I've said, I feed raw to my dogs. My personal opinion is raw is the best, but it's the best for me. It's the best for my dogs, I find. Not saying that's going to be the case for you. If you want to feed your dog dry, that's fine, great. But buy the best quality dry food you can. Same with exercise. However, you'll know your own. You'll get to know your own dog. You know, all dogs are different. You know, they'll all have their own tolerance to exercise and food and what have you. So it's just trial and error. But I mean, they're easy dogs to keep. Very loyal. Dead easy to train. You know, I've never had a dog with Saluki in it before. So I've done a bit of research, and you know, Salukis tend to be quite an aloof dog. Look at him, dopey man. They tend to be quite an aloof dog. You know, some people say they're stubborn. I will say something. You know, Saluki, Whippet, Ground, M3, but he hasn't got much brain in his head. You know, Ground and Saluki, they're not, you know, they're not known to be clever dogs. But, you know, I'd heard people say, you know, Salukis are so stubborn, they don't like coming back when you let them off. You know, personally, I never had that trouble with him. I was gifted him at 13 weeks old. You know, and when I started taking him out on light walks, let him off the lead and he'd just walk by your side. And he still does that now, you know, whereas my Whippet will prefer to mooch on ahead. And she actually spends a lot of her time bushing when you're out with her. But whereas she'll mooch on ahead, he'll more walk right by your heel. He won't go and if he does go ahead, he won't go far. So yeah, hopefully when this COVID-19 lockdown is over, guys, I'll and the winter rolls around again. You know, that's the main time I do my rabbiting. Well, ferreting wise anyway, and lamping wise, because obviously this time of year you've got crops crops up, the grass is getting longer, all the covers up. You know, it is a pain in the arse to lamp and ferret. But next, come August, September time, when the crops get down and the cover starts dying down, you know, I'll try and get some footage for you guys of these dogs working. I just thought I'd do a little talk with you. I also keep a couple of terriers. I'll be doing a talk about terriers and ratting and foxing with terriers, you know, just a little chit chat about that. I'll show you my terriers. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for joining me. I hope you all stay safe and well. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks, guys. Cheers.